I'm Howard Graham with the KU Alumni Association. I'm here with my colleague, Nicole.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nicole Reiz. I'm the Director of Professional Development for the Office of Graduate Studies.
And we are here today with Leslie Fox from the Oak Ridge Institute for Science and Education, who's going to talk to us about some great opportunities for undergraduate, graduate, and postgraduate students. Leslie.
Thank you, Howard and Nicole. I appreciate that. And I'm really excited to be with you all today and tell you more about our organization and the opportunities we have for those of you that are interested in STEM, policy, and technical support. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Let me begin by telling you a little bit about my organization. And we can be a little bit confusing, so it's always a good place to start and kind of clear up that confusion about all the different acronyms you get. We work with the government, and we love our acronyms in the government world. So let's start with that. My organization, the company I work for, is known as ORAU. We started in 1946, where we were part of the kind of wrap up of the Manhattan Project. Some of you may remember, if you think back to history class, what was happening in the hills of East Tennessee in Oak Ridge as World War II was focusing on Manhattan Project and all the science and research that came out of that. In Oak Ridge, there were 3 facilities started by the Department of Energy, and one of those is known today as the Oak Ridge National Lab. Now, many of the scientists and researchers that were working on those were also faculty themselves in universities or were working closely with universities during the project. And as everything kind of wrapped up and they began being able to open up a lot of the information that they had gone through during that time, they talked about how important it was to make sure that there was this flow of information coming back to universities, being a part of the curriculum, the education for STEM students today and in the future. They also wanted to make sure there was a way that STEM students would have a chance to experience what it's like to be a part of the incredibly innovative and exciting environment of working alongside these scientists and researchers as interns and fellowships, not only at DOE facilities, but at other federal agencies around the country. So with that, they started our original company, which is known as ORISE, the Oak Ridge Institute of Nuclear Studies. You can see First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt there, who visited us in 1955 when we first got started in that picture. And when they started it, they began with working with a small group of universities that today has expanded to over 125. Now, those universities are kind of our board. They're who we pass information back to. We work with them to develop curriculum, to look at where the research for the science is going. And we're a conduit to pass that information back from the Department of Energy. Now, of course, it's not limited. Any university student, including those at Kansas University, can apply to all of our programs. But these are just kind of our guiding force. And everything we do at ORIAU and at ORISE, which I'll talk about in a moment, is developed around helping students and be a part of their learning curriculum. We want to make sure that you get a chance to enrich that education and really carry it forward in your career. Well, about 25 years ago, DOE said, we really need to look at all the things we're asking ORISE to do, which includes not only the science education workforce development piece, but also science and technical peer reviews, worker and public health studies, radiation emergency medicine response, and environmental assessments. And we want to bring all of those under an institute that stands beside the national laboratories in terms of our requirements and of the expectations. We report regularly to Congress. We're expected to maintain at that same level. And at that time, they named the institute the Oak Ridge Institute for Science and Education, better known as ORISE. So if you reach out to us, you may see opportunities under ORIAU or under ORISE. You may see an email address, for example, if you reached out to me, would be ORIAU. But everything that we're looking at today is going to fall under that ORISE acronym. So with that, let me tell you a little bit more about ORISE. Now, during our fiscal year 2020, which was last year, we had about 9 to 10,000 program participants. So a lot of folks, just like you, a lot of students, a lot of graduates came through our programs. They were from over 750 universities in the US, about 300 foreign universities, and even 700 pre-college schools, our K through 12 programs. It represented almost every state in the United States, DC, Puerto Rico, Guam, and over 91 other foreign countries. And as I mentioned, with ORISE, not only are we part of DOE's network, who is our primary contractor, we also have over 25 other federal departments and agencies that have that same mission, that same desire to allow students a chance to learn and grow and really enrich their education by being a part of internships and fellowships with them. You can see some of the names you might recognize there: FDA, CDC, NIH, DHS, NOAA, NASA, et cetera. And I could go on and on. But it gives you a broad range of experiences that we typically see 700 to 800 open at any time during the fall, and even during our lower periods of the summer, maybe 500 or 600 that you can apply for, depending on eligibility, of course. So lots of opportunities, lots of ways to touch, reaching across a wide range of disciplines, all in support of STEM supporting technical areas, and public policy. Now, what does ORISE focus on? What are we expected to do? Well, as I said, DOE does hold us to a very high standard. They expect a best-in-class experience. And we achieve that through the ability to have programs for diverse disciplines with a wide range of eligibility, dates, terms, and locations. And through our programs, you have the chance to conduct meaningful research in policy or STEM support areas that have defined learning outcomes. You're going to get to work side by side with those leading mentors in your field, using state-of-the-art equipment and cutting-edge technology at unique world-class facilities. Through those mentors, you're going to have a chance to learn from them, collaborate with them, really learn what it's like to be a part of a national laboratory or other federal agency. And these mentors will impact your life. They'll engage you, they'll help you grow, and they'll introduce you to many areas that you may never considered before in STEM. And through ORISE, we also feel it's important to concentrate on additional professional development, those that will touch core competency areas that are critical to your STEM career field and will add value and enrich your appointment. While you're gaining this experience and learning those career skills, it can also help your career growth, your development, and really introduce you and set you up for success as part of the STEM global society. Now, all of our participants do earn a very competitive stipend, and many of the programs also offer other provisions such as a housing or a relocation a stipend, or maybe a tuition reimbursement, opportunities to attend conferences. Those vary per program, of course, but I want you to make sure that you're considering that as you look at those. It's always going to be a definitely very competitive stipend. And finally, one of the areas that we consider the most important is through the ORISE community, you get the chance to connect with your peers. Those peers that will be part of your global society in STEM for many years to come. This network can allow you to really reach even more than you ever thought possible. And you never know when you need to collaborate with others. So we're excited and hope that you will join us in the ORISE community one day. Now, I did mention that part of what we do is focus at ORISE on what you need for success. So a lot of the professional development that we offer that you can do in addition to what you're getting every day from your mentors, focus on areas of research policy and technical development success, effective STEM communication, impactful mentorship, how to be a leader and manager in STEM, professionalism in those areas, And finally, concentrating on that value of learning and professional development, not only while you're a student, but throughout the rest of your future career and your life. Now, how do we do that? And how do you find out more about it? Well, one of the best ways I would recommend is going to our website. You can see it there at the Oak Ridge Institute, and you can get to it at the web address you see there, www.orise.orau.gov. When you enter our website, you'll see many resources, and you'll also see a lot of those other areas that I mentioned. You want to focus on the two that are resources for university students, graduates, and mentors, and then our STEM internships and fellowship programs. Those will allow you to connect in and really see the different variety of programs, learn more about our professional development resources, look at what's currently open that you may apply for or what you may look for in the future, or even see things such as STEM scholarship opportunities. Now, one of the things that's of great interest, I always like to point out, is how you can find out more about our different groups. And you've got over 25 different programs that usually lead to about 400 different opportunities throughout the year in different kind of areas. It's good to have a sense of what you're looking at before you begin searching. This particular page on our STEM internships and fellowship section allow you to click into our different programs under the Department of Energy, Department of Defense, and the other agencies in health, environmental protection, food safety, and others, and begin to kind of explore and get a sense of what it's like. These are links to those federal agency websites, so you can click out and kind of see, is this right for me? What do I want to concentrate on when I begin my search for the ORISE opportunities? Now, after you've explored that, another way to really kind of understand what it's like to be part of ORISE is to hear it in the words of those who have been our participants. And you can see that in our ORISE success stories. You'll find those on the website, and it will kind of tell you a little bit about what they're doing as an ORISE participant. In some cases, what they've done with their career after, from our alumni who are part of this, and really answer some of the questions about what would I do, why would I want to do this, and how will it help me? So I encourage you to take a look through these and just consider, what would it be like? What would my story be if I were part of ORISE? Now, next, I want to tell you about some ways that you can reach us, not only myself and my team, but some of our mentors or specific programs. If you'd like to talk to us, we have quite a few opportunities coming up. We have 6 or 7 that are actually ORISE events where you can talk to specific programs such as CDC. That'll be our first one coming up on September 15th, EPA on September 30th. Then we also have FDA. We have some programs at see what else we have. We also are looking at some programs at the DOE, DHS, FBI, NIH, and NSE group. That's a large one. It's under Department of Energy. And then more that we will do for the Department of Defense. So you can see all of those calendar of events on our website. When you click up at the top, you can see, it's tiny there, but at the very top bar, there's an event section. Click on that and you can see that there. And we continually add more to these. So there's always things that are happening either for ORISE or maybe some of other events you may be able to attend, like information sessions. Now, when you're ready to start exploring, we have a page called Zintellect. It's the word intellect with a Z in front of it. And at zintellect.com, which you can reach either by going through our website or going directly to this hyperlink, you'll have an opportunity to go in and take a look at all those opportunities that I've mentioned. In the opportunity catalog, you can search before you register, or you can go ahead and get your profile set up so it can read your resume. And you can click the top and say show resume matches to help it kind of filter those a little bit more for you. I would also recommend you try to filter. Obviously, 800 opportunities is a lot to look at, but our filters will help you kind of define it by discipline, by keywords, by your field of study interest, by your citizenship. And by the way, we do have about 30 to 35% of our opportunities that are open to non-US citizens. You'll just reach those by choosing the none in the citizenship status, meaning that you're a non-US citizen and you don't want to limit to only US citizens only. If you're a US citizen, I would recommend you click all three of the categories there to be sure that you see all of those, or leave that blank so it will completely show you everything we have. But it gives you lots of opportunities to look at these, begin clicking into the titles and exploring what fits your needs, what are you eligible for, and what are you interested in. Now, another way we make it easy to connect with ORISE is our ORISE Ghost mobile application. You can get to that free on the Google Play or App Store. Download it and it'll get you straight to our website, to that calendar of events, to the success stories. All of the things we're talking about today, you'll have at your fingertips anytime you need it on your phone. So we encourage you to do that. It's a really easy way to connect with us. Now, when you begin clicking into our opportunities, just a few tips that I can give you on how to be successful. First of all, make sure you take a look at the eligibility requirements. There you see on the top box, it'll tell you if it's a citizenship requirement. For example, this example is US citizen only. If there's an academic status level requirement, for this one, they're looking for those who have actually obtained their PhD within the last 5 years. And for our graduates, that's typically going to be our level of application requirement. We do not go past 5 years of graduation. So that now some programs may be less than that, but that's kind of the general one. You must be within 5 years of your graduation date with a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, or a doctoral degree, depending on the degree requirements. Then you see the disciplines there that each program will allow to actually apply from. And if you click on those little eye icons with have the blue number, it opens out a box to show you more specifics. So for example, in this example, it shows engineering. And then when you click on the eye icon, it opens to show the specific areas. Now we know that all universities don't necessarily title these in the same way that we might have. So if you're in a discipline that doesn't quite fit, but it really is the same thing, just make sure that you're selecting that when you're filling out your profile so that it will allow you to apply, as long as, again, it is really the same thing, just titled slightly different at Kansas. So that kind of tells you a little bit about what you want to look for on the application itself. A few more tips and questions that I always get asked, and I'll cover very quickly. Do we have remote appointments? Well, of course, we, like everyone else, have been dealing with remote appointments over the last year and a half. And we were very fortunate in that most of our federal agencies were easily able to pivot and still continue internships and fellowships. But generally speaking, that's not what we consider the best in class practice. We hope, assuming that CDC guidelines allow us to do so, we'll be able to return our students to where they are able to be in the laboratories along with the mentors. When that does happen, obviously that's the way we will probably go back to. So as you're looking through most of our appointments, they're not going to talk about remote. We always just recommend that you be prepared for any of the three situations. You may stay remote the entire time. If things should change, you may be on site depending on your timing for when you're applying, or it might be a start remote and come on site later, or maybe come on site for a final presentation. Federal agencies are still determining where they're going to do all of this as well, and more information will be provided. But when you're applying, just make sure you're ready for any scenario. GPAs, do those matter? Well, most of ours are going to be a 3 or some cases a 3.5. There are a few that are a little bit lower than that. So just kind of search if you don't have that kind of a GPA. Obviously, again, many of these are looking for higher levels, particularly the graduate. So they do often have a GPA requirement, but not everyone is at that higher amount. So just keep checking. If they list it, it will not let you roll it up normally unless it states. They won't let you kind of round up, and it will block you if your GPA is not at that level. So you do want to pay attention to it. I've already talked a little bit about the US citizen. Just make sure you're filtering for those and looking for those that allow it. And as you're completing your application or what you show in your resume that you'll include, make sure that you think about the preferred and relevant skills that are listed in the description. Now, these are learning experiences, so we don't expect you to have everything. They're going to teach you this, but anytime they list anything that is a relevant skill, it is possible that it will help in the matching for the mentors to kind of move your resume up to the top a little bit more if you focus on what they're asking for and utilize those keywords. And finally, don't forget that what we call soft skills matter. In fact, I like to call those STEM skills, because to be honest, the things that happen with soft skills are incredibly important in the STEM field. Teamwork, collaboration, being able to multitask, having good communication skills, being willing to be a leader. All of those are factors when you're collaborating across disciplines or looking at all the different things that go into research. So don't forget to list those as well. On some of our programs, you may see some rolling applications. That is because we are tied to the federal government. There's lots of funding coming in at different periods of time. So they may not pick all of their folks at once, so that application may be up for a year with them bringing a few in each time. And finally, of course, don't forget the basics. Make sure you're watching your spelling, your grammar, you're answering all the questions. Don't simply say, see resume. That will not help you when they're doing the artificial intelligence matching in the system. And don't forget to submit. We actually have students often who kind of forget to hit that submit button. So make sure you've done that as well. And one final tip, in some cases, our mentors allow us to list them. If they do so, reach out to them, introduce yourself, ask questions about the appointment. It's a great way to start building that connection and let them know of your interest. And you can always find out more about ORISE and about all the opportunities we have on social media. As you can see, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we have a LinkedIn group. Tag us at #ExperienceORISE. And we're very excited to hear from you, to connect with you, and learn more about what you're interested in. And then finally, to wrap up, just want to remind you about our website, orise.oriau.gov, our mobile application, ORISE Go, our opportunity and selection page, www.zintellect.com. If you have any questions, you can reach out to our general email box, experienceorise@oriau.org. And then finally, I would love to connect with each of you on LinkedIn or on Twitter. I'm easy to find, Leslie Fox ORISE. So with that, I'll end my presentation and ask Nicole and Howard if there's any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Nicole, any questions?
Yeah, just a few. Leslie, that was wonderful. Thank you for covering those tips about applying and making sure that students and our recent graduates are thinking about highlighting their the preferred skills and their soft skills. It's really important. One question about kind of the application process. Do you have resources on the website kind of providing some advice and some guidance to students and recent graduates who are thinking about applying kind of in this realm? And are cover letters required or preferred? I mean, sometimes, it says you don't have to have a cover letter, but it's best practice to include a cover letter. Any advice or guidance for our listeners in that realm?
Absolutely. And along with these tips, we often kind of go over these more in information sessions as well. There are some articles on our website, but the cover letter is a great one. Most of our agencies don't ask for those, believe it or not, though you almost have a chance to do the same thing in the application because many of them have essay questions. So that's where I would kind of think about it. And just like we do with anything, do it in a Word doc so you can check it, you can save it. I'll often say those same questions tend to show up on multiple opportunities. So that kind of gives you a base to work from, but always make sure you're tailoring each answer to that specific posting. Each one's going to have different requirements, different keywords. There are a few that will ask for a cover letter, and it'll say that and give you a way to do that in the application, but those are kind of few and far between. And while we're talking about multiple opportunities, I know in some cases you might be recommended to only apply to one or two. That's not the case in our world. We're fine with you applying to as many as you're interested in. It won't hurt you in any way.
That's great advice. And kind of in that same vein, for the career fairs, would you recommend that students kind of have a base resume prepped when they go to those career fairs in case they're asked for their resume by the folks that they're talking to, or having something ready if they do reach out? I mean, I know if they're reaching out to a mentor, the mentor's going to say apply because there's certain processes in place. But for the career fairs, at least, should they be prepared to have a resume on hand?
I don't think it ever hurts to be prepared for that. I mean, there is a good chance that they may be asked for it. Most of our career fairs, as you said, we're going to tell them they have to go apply still. And we build ours out to where a lot of the information that the mentors will need while they're talking to them is in their profile. So they may not ask for a resume, but as you said, you never know. You might get someone that says, hey, send me your resume on the side. So having it and being able to immediately follow up and connect with them in that way is exactly what I would suggest. And as I mentioned, when they list themselves in the posting and you follow up, include your resume, include your CV as part of that email, because that's part of how they're looking at you. And then they'll go look up your application.
Fantastic. Thank you, Leslie. That's all wonderful information. Howard, do you have any questions?
I think the only question I had is about the upcoming career fairs, the virtual career fairs. Should students register for those? Are those drop-in events? Can you tell us a little bit about what students can expect when they attend?
Absolutely. So we utilize a platform that they will be registering on. It usually opens up for registration about 2 weeks before each event. And when we have those, we will be pushing those out through Handshake so that everyone will find them and can register, as well as you can be watching. We'll update our calendar of events that I showed the screenshot on with the registration link. And we'll certainly be sharing this information with Howard and Nicole and other Kansas University contacts so that they'll be able to reach out to students and alumni and share as well.
Awesome.
That's wonderful. Nicole, any last questions?
Yeah, I guess we talked about this earlier before we came on, but is there a particular time of year that students should be looking for these? Is there kind of a pulse, or should students just be continuously visiting Zintellect to see what's out there?
Yeah, great question, Nicole. And that's, I think most of the time we're kind of trained for fall. And as I said, that's probably our busiest season as well, with 700 to 800 opportunities. But don't feel that's your only chance. Many of ours are year round, or they may open up as Congress gets more funding. So on a quarterly basis, we typically see more rolling in. So I would definitely recommend they continually check back, keep an eye out, because you never know what will pop up as something new to apply to.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Leslie.
Yeah, great. Leslie, thank you so much. Again, this is Howard Graham with the KU Alumni Association, the Jayhawk Career Network, Nicole Reiz with Graduate Studies. And as Leslie mentioned, we will be helping to promote the virtual career fairs that ORISE has coming up through our social media channels, websites, but definitely go out and visit Leslie, contact Leslie, her colleagues, and you can see the website, as well as the LinkedIn, Twitter accounts. And just one last time, Leslie, I want to say thank you. This was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Great information. And we're really happy that you spent time with us this morning to introduce these opportunities to all of our Jayhawks and KU students. So thanks again, Leslie. This was wonderful, and we very much appreciate you and ORISE.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you, Nicole. And thank you, Kansas University.